Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. This is Lifestyle Critic, where we break down movies and TV shows into their core elements. And in this video we are going to be reviewing Lego Scooby Doo Haunted Hollywood, which is the first Lego Scooby Doo animated movie that was actually a lot better than I thought it would have been. Obviously I prefer the standard original animation style, but the one in Lego was actually not as bad as I thought it would have been. It's set in a Hollywood studio and borrows a lot of material from classic Hollywood movies, which actually means this movie is actually pretty decent, which I'm going to be breaking down for you in this movie review. So from a storyline point of view, it first starts off with Scooby and Shaggy winning a hamburger eating competition, which means that they win a trip to visit a Hollywood studio, which they invite the whole gang to. Over at the studio, they discover that it is actually closing down and get welcomed by a character called Junior, who is a big fan of the studio, which used to be focusing on creating horror movies, as he is a true horror avid fan. They also get greeted by a character called Atticus, who is looking to buy the studio, and all of them then go on a bit of a Hollywood studio tour by the Junior character. Over there, all of the characters then get chased out of the studio by a character called the Headless Horseman. This then leads to the whole cast and crew of the latest movie also leaving and vacating the studio, which then leads to the Scooby Doo gang having to work out what's really going on, who is behind the Headless Horseman situation, and also having to become part of the cast and crew to be able to complete this movie. So from a storyline point of view, it is actually pretty interesting. So from a cast and characters point of view, it's really interesting with this one, as like I said, not only are the gang trying to solve the mystery about what's happening in Haunted Hollywood, they also have to join and complete the movie as the cast and crew. So Fred is the director, Velma is the camerawoman, Daphne is hilariously one of the extras, and Scooby and Shaggy are actually actors in the movie, which is really, really funny. We also have Junior, who, like I said, is a bit of a horror avid fan and absolutely loves the studio, and is brilliantly voiced by Scott Menville, who really brilliantly brings the character to life and was most recently in the Marvel Spider-Man animated show, which you all know I was a really big fan of. We also have Atticus Finch, who, like I mentioned before, is looking to buy the studio, so is a little bit of the villain slash hated character in this movie. We then have Chet Bennett, who is the owner of the studio, and he used to be a big prolific horror movie creator, but then went into the rom-com genre as he thought that was going to be a bit more successful. So he's a little bit conflicted in terms of having to change his genre from something that he was a lot more passionate about, whilst also having to close down his studio. We also have Drella Diabolique, who is a big horror actress, and she is part of this movie as one of the main lead characters. And then from a villain point of view, we have quite a few villains. The main one is the Headless Horseman, but we also have a zombie, a mummy, and a sea creature. So from a cast and characters point of view, they're actually pretty decent in this movie. So from a visuals point of view, right off the bat, this is a very different visual style that they've done, but they've incorporated it really, really well. Obviously, the way that the characters interact with the world and with each other and with other little props and stuff is a little bit different, but it works well for the Lego world that they've created in this film. It's really interesting as well that they borrow from other Lego properties. So for example, you see Lego Batman in this film as well, which is actually pretty hilarious. Like I said before, I do still prefer the usual standard animation style, but it's nice as a bit of a one-off to see what's happening with this Lego world. And being set in Hollywood was just screaming out and crying out for a Scooby-Doo mystery to be set in this world. So from a visuals point of view, whilst it is radically different, it isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So in terms of comparisons, I'd say this mystery is probably in the middle in terms of comparing it to all other Scooby-Doo mysteries. In terms of comparing it to Blowout Beach Bash, which was the other Lego created Scooby-Doo animation movie, I'd say they're both pretty much on the same level. It's so much better than the Puppet movie Mystery Map. But in terms of comparing it to other Lego movies, I don't think it's as good as the Lego movie or Lego Batman. So in terms of comparisons, I'd say it's pretty much in the middle. So overall, I was a little bit apprehensive when I first heard that they were going to do a Lego Scooby Doo movie, but I was a bit open-minded, and actually it is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's really nice that they were trying something new and something different, and actually it worked really, really well. The mystery is pretty decent. The way that they incorporated Lego was actually pretty funny, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give Lego Scooby Doo movie Haunted Hollywood a solid 5.5 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.